Millionaire Cowboy proposed to the outcast bride, "I need a mother for my girls, and you need shelter." The small town of Red Hollow was quiet that afternoon, but not peaceful. Dust moved slowly through the air, covering the streets, the shops, and even the people. Nothing stayed clean for long in that place. Not clothes, not homes, and certainly not reputations. At the far end of the market stood Eliza Hart. She kept her head down, holding a small cloth bag close to her chest. Inside it was a piece of bread and a few coins, everything she owned for the day. Her dress was old but clean, and her brown hair was tied back simply. She tried her best to look invisible, but in Red Hollow, Eliza could never be invisible. People whispered when she passed. Some moved away from her as if she carried bad luck. Others looked at her with cold curiosity. No one spoke to her kindly. They all knew her story, or at least they believed they did. Eliza had lived in the town for years, but she never truly belonged. No family, no friends, no place to call home. She worked where she could, slept where she was allowed, and spoke only when needed. Still, she survived. And that was enough for her. She turned to leave the market when the sound of horse hooves filled the air. It was not a fast or careless sound. It was slow, steady, and strong. The kind of sound that made people stop what they were doing. One by one, heads turned. The horse was tall and black, its coat shining under the sun. The man riding it sat straight, holding the reins with calm control. His clothes were simple but fine, and his face was serious. Jonathan Hale. Everyone in Red Hollow knew his name. He owned the largest ranch in the area. He had more land than anyone else, more cattle, more money. But people did not respect him only for that. They respected him because he was a man of his word. Jonathan Hale did not speak much, but when he did, people listened. He rode into the center of the market, and the crowd slowly moved aside. No one stood in his way. Eliza tried to step back, hoping he would pass without noticing her, but he didn't. The horse stopped right in front of her. Her heart skipped a beat. For a moment, she thought she should run, but her feet would not move. "You are Eliza Hart," he said. His voice was calm, not loud, but clear enough for everyone nearby to hear. Eliza slowly looked up at him. His eyes were steady, watching her carefully. "Yes," she answered quietly. There was no fear in her voice, but there was caution. Jonathan studied her for a moment. He did not look angry or proud. He looked certain. "I have something to ask you," he said. The people around them became even more silent. Some stepped closer, trying to hear. Eliza felt their eyes on her, but she did not look away from him. "I don't think I can help you," she said honestly. "I have nothing to give." Jonathan shook his head slightly. "This is not about what you have," he said. "It is about what we both need." Eliza frowned, confused. Before she could speak again, Jonathan moved. He stepped down from his horse and stood in front of her. Now he seemed even taller. "My daughters need a mother," he said. The words were simple, but they felt heavy. Eliza blinked, unsure she understood. "And you," he continued, "need a safe place to live." The world around her seemed to stop. "You are asking for marriage?" she asked softly. "Yes." No hesitation, no smile, just one word. Eliza felt her hands grow cold. This was not a joke. He was serious. "But why me?" she asked. "You know what people say about me." "I know what people say," Jonathan replied, "but I do not make decisions based on gossip." Eliza looked around. The town was watching closely now. Some looked shocked. Others looked angry. She felt small under their eyes. "You could choose anyone," she said. "There are many women in this town." "I am not looking for just anyone," Jonathan said. "I am looking for someone strong." Eliza stared at him. "Strong?" she repeated. "You are still here," he said simply. "After everything people say about you, you are still standing. That tells me enough." His words surprised her. No one had ever spoken about her that way before. For a moment, she did not know what to say. "This would not be a love marriage," Jonathan added. "It would be an agreement. You care for my daughters. You have a home, food, safety." Eliza swallowed slowly. A home. The word felt strange in her mind. "I need time," she said finally. Jonathan nodded. "That is fair," he said. "But I will not wait long." He stepped back, then climbed onto his horse again. "Think carefully, Eliza Hart," he said. "This offer will not come again." With that, he turned and rode away. The sound of his horse slowly faded. But the silence he left behind stayed. Eliza stood still, holding her bag tightly. Her heart was racing. A home, or another risk. For the first time in a long time, her future was not empty. It was uncertain, and that made everything harder. That night, Eliza could not sleep. She lay on the thin blanket in the corner of the old chapel, staring at the wooden ceiling above her. The same ceiling she had looked at for many nights, but tonight felt different. Jonathan Hale's words would not leave her mind. A home, food, safety. She turned to her side, closing her eyes tightly. But every time she tried to rest, she saw his face again. Calm, serious, certain. "Why me?" she whispered softly into the dark. No answer came. By morning, the town was already talking. Eliza felt it the moment she stepped outside. People were looking at her more than usual. Some whispered behind her back. Others did not even try to hide their words. She thinks she's special now. He must be desperate. There's something wrong with that man if he chooses her. Eliza kept walking, her head down, her steps quick. She had learned long ago not to answer such voices. But today, their words hurt more. Because now, there was a choice in front of her. As she passed the market, she saw Mrs. Collins, the baker's wife, standing with two other women. They went quiet when Eliza came close. Then Mrs. Collins spoke, her voice sharp. "Be careful, girl," she said. "Big houses have big problems." Eliza stopped for a second, but did not turn around. "I already have problems," she replied quietly. Then she walked away. By midday, she found herself standing outside the edge of town. In the distance, she could see the Hale Ranch. It was large, much larger than anything she had ever known. A strong wooden house stood in the center, surrounded by open land, fences, and cattle moving slowly under the sun. It looked peaceful, but Eliza knew better than to trust appearances. Still, her feet began to move. Step by step, she walked toward it. When she reached the ranch, her heart was beating fast. She almost turned back. But before she could, the front door opened. A young girl stood there, no older than 10. She had light brown hair tied in two loose braids and sharp eyes that looked straight at Eliza. "You're the woman," the girl said. Eliza blinked. I'm sorry?" "The one father talked about," the girl continued, stepping outside. "The one he might marry." Eliza felt her face grow warm. "Yes," she said slowly. "I suppose I am." The girl crossed her arms. "I'm Clara," she said, "and I don't like strangers." Before Eliza could answer, another smaller girl ran out from behind the door. She looked about 6, with soft curls and a shy smile. "Clara, don't be rude," she said gently. Then she looked at Eliza. "Hello," the little girl added. "I'm May." Eliza gave a small smile. "Hello, May." Clara rolled her eyes. "She smiles too much," Clara said. "That doesn't mean she's nice." "Clara," a deep voice called from inside. Jonathan Hale stepped out onto the porch. His eyes met Eliza's, and for a moment, everything felt still again. "You came," he said. Eliza nodded. "I had to see what this place is like." Jonathan looked at his daughters. "Go inside," he told them. Clara did not move at first, but then she turned and walked in. May followed quietly. Jonathan stepped down from the porch. "This is not an easy decision," he said. "I know," Eliza replied. They stood facing each other, the warm wind moving around them. "I don't understand why you chose me," she said honestly. "Your daughters don't even know me. They don't trust me." "They don't trust anyone," Jonathan said. "Not since their mother passed." Eliza lowered her eyes. "I'm not her," she said softly. "I know," he replied. "I am not asking you to be her." "Then what are you asking?" Jonathan paused for a moment. "I am asking you to try," he said, "to give them care, to give them patience, and maybe, in time, they will accept you." Eliza thought about Clara's cold eyes, May's quiet smile. "This won't be easy," she said. "No," Jonathan agreed. "It won't." Silence filled the space between them. Eliza looked at the house again. Strong walls, a safe place, something she had never truly had. "And if I say no?" she asked. Jonathan met her gaze. "Then you walk away," he said, "and nothing changes." That was the truth. Nothing would change. She would return to the chapel, to the whispers, to the cold nights and empty days. Eliza took a deep breath. Her life had always been about surviving. But maybe this was a chance to live. She looked back at Jonathan. "I will do it," she said. The words felt heavy, but also right. Jonathan nodded once. "Then welcome to the Hale Ranch," he said. Inside the house, Clara watched from the window. Her expression was not happy. Something in her eyes warned clearly. This was only the beginning. Life at the Hale Ranch was not easy for Eliza. From the very first day, she understood one thing clearly. This house had walls, but it did not yet feel like a home. Every morning she woke up before the sun. She helped in the kitchen, cleaned the rooms, and tried to learn how things worked on the ranch. The work was hard, but Eliza did not complain. She was used to hard days. What was harder was Clara. The older girl watched her all the time, not with curiosity, but with doubt. Every small mistake Eliza made, Clara noticed. Every quiet moment, Clara filled with silence that felt heavy. "You don't belong here," Clara said one afternoon. Eliza was folding clothes near the window. She stopped for a moment but did not turn around. "I know this is your home," Eliza said calmly. "I am not trying to take anything from you." Clara stepped closer. "You already are," she replied. "Father listens to you now. May smiles at you. That was not your place before." Eliza slowly looked at her. "I am not here to replace anyone," she said gently. "Not your mother. Not you." Clara's eyes hardened. "Then why are you here?" she asked. Eliza did not answer right away, because the truth was not simple. "I am here because your father asked me," she said finally, "and because I needed a place to belong." Clara shook her head. "You don't belong," she said again, then walked away. Eliza felt a quiet ache in her chest, but she did not follow. Some things needed time. Unlike Clara, little May was different. May stayed close to Eliza, asking small questions and offering quiet smiles. She would sit beside her while she worked or hold her hand when they walked outside. One evening, as the sun began to set, May sat beside Eliza on the wooden steps. "Will you stay?" May asked softly. Eliza looked down at her. "I will try," she said. May nodded, as if that answer was enough. "I like when you're here," she said. Eliza smiled, but her heart felt heavy, because liking someone was not the same as accepting them. Jonathan watched everything. He saw Clara's distance. He saw May's growing trust, and he saw Eliza trying, even when things were not easy. One night, after dinner, he found Eliza outside near the fence. She was looking out at the dark land, quiet and still. "You are working too hard," he said as he walked up beside her. Eliza gave a small shake of her head. "I don't mind the work," she said. "It's everything else that is difficult." Jonathan understood. "Clara will take time," he said. Eliza looked at him. "And if she never accepts me?" she asked. Jonathan did not answer right away. "She lost her mother," he said slowly. "She is afraid to lose anything again." Eliza lowered her eyes. "And what about you?" she asked. "Are you afraid?" Jonathan looked out into the distance. "I am afraid of making the wrong choice for my daughters," he said honestly. Eliza felt those words deeply, because she felt the same. The next day, something unexpected happened. A group of people from town arrived at the ranch. Eliza saw them from the window and felt her stomach tighten. She recognized some of the faces. Mrs. Collins was there, and others who had never been kind to her. Jonathan stepped outside to meet them. Eliza stayed inside, but she could hear the voices. "You brought her here?" one man said loudly. "That girl is trouble. She has no place raising your children," another added. Jonathan's voice was calm but firm. "She is my choice," he said, "and my decision is not yours to question." Eliza stood still, her hands cold. The whispers had followed her here. They had not stayed behind in town. After a few moments, the voices faded as the people left. But the damage was done. Clara had heard everything. That evening, Clara refused to eat dinner. "She doesn't belong here," Clara said again. "Everyone knows it." Jonathan's face grew serious. "That is enough," he said firmly. But Clara stood up from the table. "You don't understand," she said. "People don't lie about her for no reason." Eliza felt her heart drop. She stood slowly. "If you want me to leave," Eliza said quietly, "I will go." The room fell silent. May looked scared. Jonathan looked surprised, but Clara said nothing. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Jonathan spoke. "No," he said. "You are not leaving." His voice was stronger now. "I made this choice," he continued, "and I will stand by it." Eliza looked at him, unsure what to feel, because for the first time, someone was standing for her. But Clara turned away, her face filled with emotion. This fight was not over, not even close. That night, Eliza stood alone again, looking out at the land. The ranch was quiet, but inside the house, a storm was growing, and she knew, soon, something would have to change. The ranch was quiet the next morning, but the silence felt heavy. Eliza woke early, as always, but something inside her had changed. The words from the night before stayed in her heart. Clara's anger, the town's judgment, Jonathan's firm voice. You are not leaving. It was the first time anyone had ever said that to her. Still, Eliza did not feel at peace. She stepped outside, letting the cool morning air touch her face. The land stretched far and wide, calm and strong. It looked like a place that did not break easily. But people were not like land. People could break. As she stood there, she heard soft footsteps behind her. It was May. The little girl walked up slowly and held Eliza's hand. Are you going away? May asked quietly. Eliza looked down at her and gently shook her head. No, she said. Not today. May smiled a little, but her eyes still held worry. I don't want you to go, she said. Eliza knelt down in front of her. I don't want to go either, she replied softly. But sometimes, things are not easy. May nodded, though she did not fully understand. From the doorway, Clara watched them. Her face was serious, her eyes filled with thoughts she could not say. Later that day, something unexpected happened. Clara went missing. At first, no one noticed. She often stayed alone, keeping her distance. But when lunchtime passed and she did not come, Jonathan began to worry. Have you seen her? He asked Eliza. She shook her head. A quiet fear spread quickly. Jonathan saddled his horse, ready to search. The workers checked the fields, the barns, and the nearby paths. Eliza stood still for a moment, thinking. Then she remembered something. The small hill behind the ranch. A quiet place with a single tree. She had seen Clara there once, sitting alone. I think I know where she is, Eliza said. Without waiting, she started walking. The sun was high when Eliza reached the hill. There, under the tree, sat Clara. Her knees were pulled close to her chest, her face hidden. Eliza stopped a few steps away. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she spoke gently. I was looking for you. Clara did not move. I don't need anyone to look for me, she said coldly. Eliza stepped closer but kept her distance. Your father is worried, she said. Clara finally looked up. Of course he is, she said. He always worries. There was something deeper in her voice now, something hurt. Eliza sat down on the grass, not too close. Why did you come here? She asked softly. Clara looked away. This was my mother's place, she said after a moment. She used to bring us here. It was quiet, safe. Eliza listened carefully. I didn't want to stay in the house, Clara continued. Everything feels different now. Eliza understood. Change was not easy. I know I can't replace her, Eliza said gently. And I'm not trying to. Clara's eyes filled with emotion. Then why are you here? She asked again. But this time her voice was not angry, it was tired. Eliza took a deep breath. Because I was given a chance, she said. A chance to have a home, and maybe to give something good in return. Clara stayed quiet. I don't want to take your place, Eliza continued. I only want to stand beside you, if you let me. The wind moved softly around them. For a long moment, Clara said nothing. Then slowly, she spoke. I don't hate you, she admitted. I'm just afraid. Eliza felt her heart soften. Afraid of what? She asked. Clara's voice became very quiet. Afraid that if I care again, I will lose again. The truth in her words was clear. Eliza moved a little closer. You won't lose me, she said gently. Not by choice. Clara looked at her. For the first time, there was no anger in her eyes, only a small piece of trust. When they returned to the ranch, Jonathan was waiting. Relief showed on his face the moment he saw Clara. He stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. Don't do that again, he said quietly. Clara nodded. Then slowly, she looked at Eliza. She found me, Clara said. Jonathan looked at Eliza, surprised. Then he gave a small nod of respect. That evening, dinner was quiet, but different. Clara did not speak much, but she did not leave the table. May smiled more than before, and Eliza felt something new. Not comfort, not yet, but hope. Days passed, and little by little, things began to change. Clara spoke more. May laughed more. The house felt warmer. It was not perfect, but it was growing. One evening, as the sun set over the land, Eliza stood outside again. Jonathan walked up beside her. You stayed, he said. Eliza nodded. Yes, she replied. Jonathan looked at the house where his daughters were inside. Thank you, he said. Eliza looked at him, then back at the ranch. For the first time in her life, she did not feel like an outsider. This place, this life, it was becoming hers. Not because it was given, but because she chose it. And slowly, it was choosing her too.